Recently, we've been in lockdown, and one thing I've noticed during this pandemic is that while the situation is getting tougher and tougher for those in lockdown, people are willing to speak out and put forward their opinion and vocalize the things that are affecting them. And I think it's great, stand up, speak for what you believe, absolutely. But what I've learned is that there's always injustice. There's always horrible shit going on in this world. And the sad reality is that people are so numb to the fact that there are problems that are far above and beyond the situations that they could even fathom. And until someone, and because we've been so desensitized by all the things we see on TV, the movies we watch, until someone is literally in your face affecting you personally, people are not willing to speak up, and people are not willing to open their eyes to what the hell's going on. Now, it's amazing. All of a sudden, we're all in lockdown, which absolutely I do not agree with, but anyway, that's another topic. And people are feeling like their arms are getting chopped off. They're feeling like their lives are getting stopped. They're feeling like, the world is caving in, and I absolutely understand the feeling. And now they're speaking up. Now they're putting up a post. Now they're sharing every bit of information they can find. But what about prior to this? What about when there were already millions of different pandemics going on? In particular, one that I've spoken so strongly about, child sexual abuse. This is a silent pandemic. This is something that's been going on for centuries. This is something that is so ingrained within our cultures and our communities. And it is horrendous. It's disgusting. If you can even fathom the idea of what actually happens to a child, it's scary. And yet someone like me who has a small amount of followers posts up content all the time about this, and people sometimes share it. I share it with them to ask them to share it, but it's not something of an innate response to go, oh fuck, you know what, the world is shit and we need to educate people. And it's not this instant share. And it's like, okay, cool. Is it because it's too confronting? Is it because you didn't listen to it? Is it because you don't want to hear about it? Awesome. But the problem is, what I've realized is unless something directly affects an individual, people don't give a fuck. And that's a sad reality. Until you're getting slapped in the face, until you're getting your rights taken off you, do you give a shit? Now, that's a sad thing. If you want the world to change, we need to change that behavior. We need people to be willing to stand up for any injustice and actually grow a pair and go, hey, no, this is wrong. Here's some information. You all have platforms. You all have the ability to spread word. What's the harm in saying share and put it on your story? I get it. Some people have a brand and they have a business model they're playing, but that's a very minute group of people that have a specific, and they have great platforms, which they should be doing it on. But I get it. Some people are like, oh, it's not in my social media marketing plan, blah, 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 all that bullshit. But for the average Joe that's posting up every news story they can find, every snippet of a video they can find of a lockdown, a protest, it's all well and good, but what's the point of you now trying to stand up for something because it affects you directly? But didn't you know all those other things affect you directly? So whenever I've spoken about child sexual abuse, you've walked into the life of someone that actually has been affected. If you know me personally, I'm one of them. So that's already one. But there's heaps of them. And if you are going to be involved with having your own children, or you have your own children, or people are involved in your life that have children, that affects you directly. So what is the reason why people don't want or don't stand up? And what I've kind of had a bit of a think about this, and what I've looked at is our society has been so desensitized, meaning we have been shown every possible scenario in existence of trauma, illness, death, disease, war, through social media, through movies, through a false narrative, through things that have been created that are not real or based off real stories, but are still not real. Movies are a great example here. People can now sit down, flick onto a channel, watch something like SVU and see, a rape victim and a case, and they're so used to hearing it and so used to seeing it that it's just like, okay, cool. They're so used to seeing blood and guts, people heads chopped off in a movie, whatever. And it's very common, it's very normal. So when they hear, oh, there's some kind of injustice, yeah, okay, cool, I know about that because I've visualized it, I've seen it, And the reality is, well, no, you've seen a fake variation of it. You don't actually know its impact. And even till this day now, when we're having people actually getting pushed to lose their jobs and their careers and their families and their mental health and being locked down and their freedoms being stripped off them, we're seeing people are willing to comply as far and as long as it takes, or depending on how long they've been desensitized for. Some people are so numb to it, until you go up to them and chop their physical arm off, are they going to go, oh shit, this hurts, I need to say something? And this is a society that has been silently abused, silently manipulated, silently had narcissism riddling their lives so that they believe that their problems are not bad, that they've been gaslighted, that there is worse in the world, there is always an uglier situation, so even that situation that's not that bad, well, it's not that bad. The sad reality is that's not the truth. If you are so numb to all of these situations, you don't feel nothing, you don't understand the severity. And I think that's the hard thing to grasp, is that now I see people promoting or pushing forward, the idea that they're not free, and you know what, good on you, push your idea, push your voice out, speak up, because that's what makes change. But take a look for a second and go, why is it now that you have this courage to speak up? Why haven't you spoken up about anything else? Something that has not affected you directly. Is it because it only has to be personal to you? Or is it because you just never saw it or you never felt it? And the reality is sometimes you don't have to feel physically someone's pain to help them. The truth is, yes, if you've experienced what they've experienced, you can empathize. But we can have sympathy and we can go, hey, this human is suffering. How about we, help? It's a sad thing. I still see people this day and age not want to share or not want to push, good content out. They don't want to help someone that's actually promoting something that doesn't give them any benefit besides just informing people about what the reality is of the shit that goes on in this world. Things like child sexual abuse, things like sex trafficking, things like, all of these horrendous things that actually happen, that always happen. These are agendas that have been on and existing continuous. These are not just a pandemic. These are things that have been long-term pandemics, not just this, 1 or 2 year thing. And only until they've been in the firing line and felt something have they decided, oh, maybe I should put something, or well, fuck this, or I'm going to post this up and that up. You've always had the platform. And what I suggest is maybe look inside. Maybe you've been numbed out. Maybe you've been desensitized. Maybe you've watched so many movies that you just think that this is all kind of a reality and people are working behind the scenes and fixing the problems, but they're not. They're absolutely not. And the people that can fix the problems are the rest of us, are the mass, the mass people, the people that can actually stand up and speak, the people that can educate each other, the people that can actually come together, or the community. And if you see something unjust, spread the word. If you see something that's incorrect, put your hand up, stand up, speak out. That's really important. If you see someone posting something that you could just help, share it, because it could just let one other person know, and they're like, hey, what does it take? 3 seconds to press share? Or does it wreck your news feed? Does it wreck? No. You know what I mean? It's about just having an ability to use the power you have to make a difference, not just for an agenda for yourself. Think about it. If you've just recently started using your platforms just because you're in lockdown and you're sick of what's happening in the world, and now you've only been able to post and share, and why now? Because it affects you? What about things that affect others? It really makes a difference. So what I would ask is that find something that you've, skipped recently, that you're just like, oh yeah, next. Maybe go back to that and share it for that person. Push it for that person. Just let them, it's usually information and knowledge. It's nothing of a sales pitch. There's nothing for them to gain out of it. People don't want, money from that. They just want, hey, can you educate this person? Let them see this content maybe that can help someone. If there's, a bit of clickbait and saying, oh, and then there's a call to action and come and do this. No, people just want, the real people out there trying to make a difference just want you to be informed. So if you've skipped past something that has information that could potentially help even someone else, share it, post it. It makes a difference. It's really appreciated by people like myself and those who are trying to put information or knowledge out there with nothing else to gain. Just our words, our experiences, others' experiences, and some information that could help change the world. So just because you now are awake to seeing shit that affects you, there's always been things going on in the world. There's always been tragedies. And anytime you come across something, just be aware, don't be numb to it. Go, hey, take a second, share it, post it, speak about it, be a little bit more informed. Just that information itself can make a massive difference in how we change the world moving forward.